Welcome back to GBGuns. What we're looking at here is the Bersa TPR9C. Now I had the honor of being one of the early guys to bring news of this gun to you, and I've been using it ever since. Tactikitty approves and seconds that. In fact, you see it's got a little bit of lint on it. That's because this is one of my carry guns. As you saw, I had literally just pulled it out of my pants to strip it, or unload it rather, and show it to you. What we've got in here is the full size. I want to take a look at some of the features, builds, and also show you how it compares in size to the compact. That's what's coming up next on GBGuns. So before I get too into this, I know some of you are going to be asking, well, how are you carrying it? What are you using for a holster? I carry inside the waistband, and have been using this alien gear that was designed originally for the Thunder Pro, I think was the name of the older series, before this modernization of them. And because this is soft on one side, kydex on the other, the imperfection of fit, so you can see there, between the kydex and the gun is somewhat forgivable because it's allowed to swell out on this side. It's not perfect, but it does work. It does hold the gun, and I haven't had any holster wear from that. I've been talking with some other folks, hoping that somebody like Crossbreed will figure out that this model gun is no longer being produced and imported, and that this gun is out. All right, with that out of the way, let's take a look at this guy. Opening up the standard Bersa leaning case. Gun came in this bag with a chamber flag in it. Of course, the guys at the gun shop wanted to check it out, which I don't blame them for. Sharp looking, got the two-tone. Wished I could have had the compact in two-tone. That's a personal preference of mine. Some of you may not like two-tone, but there you can see the dark versus the gray. One mag in the gun, spare mag included, and our witness windows are on the back, which is good, and you can see for quick reading, 5 you're low, 10 you're decent, 15 is marked, well, because, and then 17 for full. So 17 plus 1, 18 rounds. This is your full-size pistol. Spare mag comes there as well, behind the foam up top. We don't have anything under the foam down below. We've got the manual for the older Thunder Pro series, and it looks like they seem to have misplaced, or does this not have the lock? I guess this doesn't lock. So that's nice. Some of the Bersas had a lock system on them. I know some people didn't like them or didn't trust them. I've never had an issue with them. The TPR9, or sorry, the BP9CC is also a gun that I've carried. Excellent trigger on that thing, and it had the safety. See this locking system here? That is missing on this full size. You notice by the serial numbers also this is much later production. Let's get this out of the way and take a look at the gun. First things first, of course, is to show clear. This does have a loaded chamber indicator. This little bar here pops up when there's a round in the chamber, but we'll take a look first. You can see that it's clear. We'll check for magazine ejection. Comes out rather softly with a slide back, with a slide closed. You get a little more kick. So it's a release, not an ejection. I prefer eject, but these guns are a heck of a deal, so I'm not going to complain about gravity doing its thing anyways. Starting off at the front of the gun, got our slide to frame. We have a little bit of side to side and a little bit of vertical play. A little more rattle than I would like, but we'll see in the range review if that affects accuracy at all. Barrel to slide up front locks good and tight, and I do not get any movement between the barrel and the slide up front. If you want to check this at home on your own guns, make sure you're holding the slide good and firmly, because it's really easy for slide movement to be mistaken as barrel movement. So we have dovetailed sights, which is great. Front cog serrations for doing press checks and for style. We've got 2 rail slots and plenty of room down here for lights, lasers, chainsaws, etc. And these memory points on both sides, I'm a fan of. Trigger finger can rest there and feel it. Thumb can rest there and feel it and keep out of the way. No serrations on the front of the trigger guard. A nice raised cut or relief there to allow a full grip. I have beyond normal large hands, and fits very comfortably on this grip without any risk of pinch, Yes, I did pause because, well, my days of Glock 19 has made me a little afraid of shoving a mag in without releasing my bottom finger and opening up my hand. But on this guy, goes right in without any risk of pinching. We have some vertical serrations on the front strap here, which I consider good. The gun is trying to move front and rear, maybe some horizontal, but it gives you some grip there. Plastic grip panels. Looking underneath, we can see we have a little bit of beveling, which is nice. Of course, on double stacks, single feed like these, the magazine itself serves as your mag well. So you don't have to worry about mag wells and double stacks too much, but I know a lot of people like to make noise about them. The back strap, which is all this one-piece plastic grip here, has some serrations at an angle. Controls, I can reach the decocker and bring it back off fire. And yes, that is a decocker and a safety. You can leave it up and have a dead trigger, or bring it back down for a first double action shot. There's our reset. Rather short, as is standard with Bersas. I like it. Good length, good pull. The double action does kind of stack to a wall about here, which is presumably right before it's going to break. So that makes it a stageable, predictable pull. Pull to there, break. Pull to there, break. If you need to make an aimed shot while still in double action. In single action, come to the wall. The wall is a little soft, but it is perceivable. And a nice break. So good trigger. It's what I've come to expect out of Bersas. The slide stop and release, as you can see, has some depth to it and serrations both on top and below to make it easy to use as a stop and easy to use as a release. Nice shelf to rest the thumb on here with a thumb safety that will hopefully prevent me from preventing slide lock by my thumb touching the slide stop, which it typically does when I'm shooting. Slide to frame fit on the back. A little bit of play in all directions. There's our 3 white dot sight system. You can see the front dot is brighter and bigger, drawing your eye to it. And we've got a little bit of room on either side of that front sight post to permit identifying the target and area around it, which is good. And ambidextrous controls. The magazine release, however, is not. It is reversible, but not ambidextrous like the rest of these. Let's see if the slide stop works left-handed. It does, and it works as a release left-handed. Nice. That's for those of you that are not been following so many of the handgun reviews, it's not uncommon for controls on this side here to be connected by a thin piece of metal over to this side of the gun, which is where all the catching, etc. happens. And that thin piece of metal will just torque instead of actually activating it like this does. You can hear it's a good solid slide. Next, we'll field strip this thing and take a look inside the gun. So field stripping the TPR9 is a little different from what you might be accustomed to with other guns, in that you don't have to lock the slide back, pull it back to some strange position, pull the trigger, any of that stuff. We do want to check for clear. Once again, we do have that loaded chamber indicator right there that pops up when there's a round in the chamber, but we'll check anyways. It is clear. And then all you got to do is rotate this lever down like that, and the slide comes right off. Taking a look at our frame, we can see we've got nice long rails all the way down, solid metal, because this is an aluminum frame pistol. I appreciate the slightly extra weight and sturdier feel you get from that. There's our ejector. Nice and clean inside. We have a non-captured recoil spring on a steel rod. That's awesome. I like forward weight because that helps with muzzle flip. Having the non-captured spring makes replacing it a lot easier. Also means you got to watch out to make sure that it's not going to go flying anywhere. There's our barrel. Take a look inside our slide. And we don't see much machining mark. We do see some wear in here on the Cerakote already. Come on, camera, why don't you focus where we're looking? There we go. That little bit of sheen right there is just a little bit of wear on the Cerakote where the barrel hood locks in against the slide. In fact, you can see there's that kind of gray line forming on the top of the barrel hood. Not worried about that. That's our safety plunger, which makes it drop safe. And we can see, as with many non-US guns, that the slide, frame, and barrel are all serialized together. Whether or not that means that they're machined or fitted to one another, don't know, but it does make me feel better. Let's see if I can round up a 9mm round real quick so we can check our chamber. In the absence of our standard Nosler match, I'm going to take one of my carry rounds. This was loaded by L-Tech. This is using that NS3 multi-part casing where you've got a steel barrel and an aluminum tip. It cuts weight by about half and fires much cooler. It's much easier to pick up. It's kind of interesting. So we dropped the round in there, and what we're looking at is chamber support. I want to see if there's any bit of the round outside of that little tail there that is exposed. And as you can see, there isn't. That means it's a fully supported chamber. If you're wondering what that's all about, fully supported chamber means in case of hot load or freak overcharge or any type of malfunction with the ammunition, all of the gases are going to be directed out the barrel, pushing that bullet and getting the gun cycling, versus an unsupported chamber like some of the earlier Glocks. You might run into issues of detonation coming down into the mag well, blowing the magazine out. It's just a little scarier. Generally it's as safe, but I prefer fully supported chambers. Also, if you're looking for ultimate performance, in theory, having that round being supported all the way around means that your combustion should be more equal. It's not losing pressure to the case bulging. So once we get the slide back on for reassembly, bring it to about there, and that lever rotates up. Now we can function check, and hopefully the microphone picks up how nice this sounds as it cycles, but it does have a pretty good sound to it. So that's the TPR9. When we get it out to the range, we'll of course do what's for dinner, full mag +1, which with 18 rounds will be fun, and do some accuracy shots and let you know our thoughts on how this guy runs. Thanks for watching.